Hello, Ping Identians. It is with a heavy heart that I bring you my final training and a farewell. My role has been downsized, and 2 days later, I found out that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So my farewell had to be creative because I'm not allowed to be out and about as I prepare for surgery. And I thought, what could I do to say how much I care, how much I have really, truly enjoyed working with you and being your champion of learning? And I thought, what better way than a training? So then I thought, what topic would be best suited for this very interesting, super challenging, very emotional moment in my life? And I thought, well, high performance, of course. So one of my favorite tools is this normal distribution curve. I'm just a math geek at heart. And part of why I love working with you is because we're all a little geeky. And so we can embrace our inner geek today. I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite tools from MIT as a tool to navigate change and uncertainty in your life. This has a near and dear heart to my heart because when my daughter was 2, and started to ask why she couldn't do things that other kids could do, or in elementary school, why she had to eat healthy foods in her lunch when other kids got to eat other things. And I said, well, that's because we choose to be extraordinary. And when I walked across that Be Extraordinary mat on my first day getting to know Ping, I thought, this is home. And so I challenge you through every bit of uncertainty you face to think about what would the most extraordinary version of yourself do in this moment. And also, let's layer on, we're going to layer lots of concepts, probably about, I don't know, 12 years of learning for me, all wrapped into how I'm addressing this cancer diagnosis and job loss. And I just thought to myself, let's put the tools to work. This is your time. I also think a lot about don't take for granted where you've worked. We've learned incredible things together. Andre says this is a photograph that's a part of a much bigger movie. And I love that because this moment in time, whatever challenge you might be facing, is only a moment. It will pass. You will make it through. And as humans, our spirit needs to know that this isn't forever. And so I know when my daughter came to me afraid that I was going to die, I said, honey, I'm not going to die. It's just a matter of how much hell are we going to endure between now and healing. And so we got a little giggle. We looked at some stats. I helped her look at research. And yeah, it's scary. It's a very scary topic. Yet I don't choose fear as my operating system. So I choose high performance. What does that mean? It means that we succeed beyond standard norms consistently over the long term. The reason I'm so passionate about this and why I love designing these trainings for you all is because I was a peak performer. Peak performers scale the peak, they plummet and recover, then they scale the next peak. And overall, you kind of have that up and to the right, as Raj would say, kind of trajectory in your career. High performers operate differently. They maintain their health and well-being. The research on the largest body of knowledge of high performers, they're happier than their peers, they're healthier than their peers, they're less stressed than their peers. I went, what? That doesn't sound like what I was living. And so it is with great passion that I share high performance strategies to help you navigate whatever change and uncertainty you may be experiencing. This tool is called a ladder of inference. I created it when I was partnering with the Waters Foundation and MIT and Peter Senge. He has a 16-rung ladder. My responsibility was take that down to make it accessible to kids. And so we brought it down to a 4-rung ladder, and I've adapted it a little bit to be adult centric, yet not 16 rungs that you can't remember. So with that, let's talk about an experience, right? I came home from surgery, biopsying my breast to learn that my role was being downsized. I was in absolute shock. And then I thought I better get on the job search because I didn't think cancer would be real. My mom and grandmother had a similar biopsy on their right breast also, and both came back cancer-free. The doctor had told me 75% of the time these come back negative. So at that moment, I wasn't too worried. I was shocked about the job, yet I was really thinking to myself, let's get yourself out there, polish up your resume. Let's go, girl. Nothing's going to take you down. Well, 2 days later, when I got the call, that took me down. And I was a mess. And I thought, You don't get to be a mess. Your mess becomes your masterpiece. Here we go. I pulled out my ladder and I did what was my fast thoughts, right? Thank you, Daniel Kahneman, Fast and Slow Thinking, right? He has a book called Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow, really great read. So the experience in my fast thinking, I was thinking, oh my gosh, challenge and crisis are everywhere. One of the people, mentor of mine who I turned to said, this is a horrible time to lose your job. It's the holiday season, right? And then I looked at the economy's downturning. We've endured multi-layered crises, not just isolated events like 9/11, but we've been through years now of crises, of health challenges, and it's been global. So that's weighing on us. And I don't know about you, but I haven't exactly therapeutically healed from that, right? And then my belief was based on a prevention mindset that I have to go and get a new job. Well, that's a prevention mindset, that I'm preventing failure in my life, that I'm playing not to lose instead of pausing and saying, what has this created? We'll get into that in a minute. So my thoughts were spiraling, right? They were, why is this happening to me? What could I have done differently? I better start the job search. This is the worst time of year to be looking for a job. Oh my gosh, as a single mom at Christmas with cancer, what the heck, right? I have every reason to spiral downward and take these actions that you see here: rumination, emotional eating, sleeping. Insert any action that creates distance from my dreams. However, I'm so grateful for learning, which is why I'm so passionate about it, because I know better, so I can do better, right? So I can slow down my thinking, apply this tool in the same way. You'll notice the experience is the same, yet I choose to see it differently. I choose to see that challenge and crisis ignite innovation. Through every challenge, there is always someone out there innovating, someone out there solutioning. Human beings are wired for challenge. We love it, actually. And yet it's hard to love in moments like these, right? And there are days where I love it a little less. And yet we know that we achieve greatness amidst challenge. When we look into the belief rung, underneath my thoughts that were spiraling downward was a belief that I didn't have control of my circumstance. And I do, right? We all have agency. So I had to question those thoughts and clear them. I believe with my whole heart that we should be playing to win, not playing not to lose. I'm a big promotion mindset person. I also know and believe change is the only constant in the world. So we got to get comfortable with it. And that challenge is inevitable. I moved to this beautiful home of my dreams through a lot of hardship after a builder destroyed the foundation of what I thought was the dream home, and then had the opportunity to buy my daughter a horse and live on acreage. It was like God in this universe said, honey, dream the whole dream. The same is true right now. What if job loss is that invitation? I've been dreaming of running my own business for 7 years. What a gift this is. I like to call that shift happens. My mom's from England and never let us grow up with cuss words. And so we would sometimes say, oh, shift. And sometimes when life brings some lemons, I go, shift happens, baby. Let's do that. And so now I shift from why is this happening to me to why is this happening for me? What can I do with this challenge? It's going to give me time to heal and recover from, I don't honestly know what's ahead, but it's going to allow that surgical recovery time. It's also the perfect invitation for me to say, honey, quit playing scared. Do it. You want to build trainings and coach and create communities online? Quit watching everybody else do that and you get in that game. So my action was revise my destination declaration, which is part of the Life Design Lab curriculum that has carried me through every change in my life, prioritize my top 3 actions every day, and then just one step at a time, right? The diagnosis and doctor's appointments are overwhelming. And when I get overwhelmed, I give myself peace through meditation, through spa music, through beautiful candles, aromatherapy, all kinds of great things that I can choose to do one small step at a time. So let's geek out and put that together. That's called thought monitoring, right? Climbing the ladder is a way to monitor your thoughts from a real geeky perspective. With kids and my daughter, I always say, let's lay on the ground in the sunshine and watch thoughts pass like clouds. If that works for you, great. Find a meditative spot, watch the thoughts pass. Most important thing you'll ever do, select the positive ones. It's easy to get pulled into negative. High performers, they operate from a different playbook. So those positive thoughts lead to more thinking. And those thoughts start monitoring. You'll see more positive thoughts increasing over time. So monitor your thoughts. That's increasing. You're going to do more of that. Then select positive thoughts. Do more of that. And then monitor. That has an R in the middle for reinforcing. Those two behaviors reinforce. On the right, you'll see a time delay, those two hash marks. Over time, when you do that, you'll experience greater success, more joy, right? A lot of my joy, people go, how are you so positive? How are you so joyful amidst hardship? And I'm like, it's because I know how to select my thoughts. I know how to pull out that ladder and journal like a geek, right? I don't sit with it for as long. I allow myself, but I tell myself, linger longer over less. Let's linger over the few great things and do less. So lots of that helps manage energy as well, and how you feel, and giving you greater contribution. I hope that this is going to reach someone who needs to hear these words, who's also navigating change and uncertainty. The other thing that's really helpful is to know, what does change look like? Change is a hot mess every time. You have a status quo, and typically, as someone who leads change initiatives, what I know is how to toe the line. You have an implementation dip is what that's called. You're going to see some regression. Even kids, when they develop, there'll be a newborn baby, and all of a sudden it's crying in the middle of the night. That's because it's mentally visualizing and rehearsing crawling before it ever knows how to crawl, right? We're wired with brilliance within, my friends. So know that, yeah, you'll experience that implementation dip. The baby doesn't sleep through the whole night. The baby ends up waking up. Why? Because it's rehearsing in its mind. It's complex to add new skills. So we see that dip in regression. Then things get really messy. We start fine tuning and figuring out what works, right? I've fine tuned throughout my life what works. It's all in the Life Design Lab. I put it together in a course to share with others who want to live high performance lives, who know that they want to succeed consistently. They want to be growing. They want to be great in all dimensions, not just career, but career, family, finance, health, travel, advocacy, doing great things for the world. And on the other side of the mess, look what you see, growth, right? So I know that's what's possible. This job loss and diagnosis is a picture in a larger movie. And we create that every day. Now, will there be days you don't feel like it? Yes. Remember, emotions are like tunnels. When you work through them, you get to the light at the end. We learned that during COVID together when we were launching the Tuesday noon trainings, because we're dynamite, TNT. Yeah. And that was one that we learned from our burnout book study. So when you're not feeling like it, remember, that's why you need the high performance habits. Most days right now, I don't feel like getting out of bed. Thankfully, I have to go to the doctor's, which means I have to do my hair. Today, I did my hair for a video shoot for you. So find those reasons when you don't feel like it. How do you keep yourself moving? And most importantly, remember, when writing your story, don't let someone else hold the pen. This is how you write your own life story. You start with your thoughts, analyze your experience, ask what's underneath that thought. Why am I thinking that? If I'm thinking that, I must believe this, and start questioning those beliefs. Know that it all ties together in a beautiful story that will be woven as your life. When things were difficult this year and the builder destroyed my home, I had to fight to get my earnest money back. I found this beautiful slice of paradise, and then I went flying off a horse. It was like I was living in the middle of a Hallmark movie meets Yellowstone episode. It was a paradox, right? That our lives are more paradoxical than we think. We think it's supposed to be cupcakes and rainbows, and we don't feel good when it's not. It is a paradox where beauty is happening right in the midst of the shitstorm. And I get to use that word because of the situation in my life, right? It's like, there's sometimes only a cuss word can work in this situation. I'm sorry, Mom. So when writing the life story, know that you're creating a beautiful story, even when it's hard. I can look back and connect these dots. I had a neighbor who said, you are like a warrior. Can I come out and do some pictures we lived in the city before in a very urban environment and moved to the country. And so she's a city friend. And she was like, I really want to come out and capture some photos. And she was like, you're like a warrior. So we bought swords. And if you want to see the picture, go to drj.com. I put my warrior photo on there. And that night I couldn't go to sleep. I thought, I love creating community. I want to create a community for warrior women, women who are holding big, audacious goals and know that they can make them come true. For me, that was this house that was putting a horse in the yard for my daughter. It was doing those amazing things. And look at how I designed that logo back in August. I didn't know it would be breast cancer pink, but I can trust that something bigger than I can understand is at work in my life. And so with that, I invite you to stay in touch. I'm launching a YouTube channel called Shift Happens, How We Navigate Change and Uncertainty. You can also connect on LinkedIn, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. My personal email, I want to stay in touch with each and every one of you. It has been my honor to be your champion of learning. And I was surprised that that was not a Gmail address that was taken. I just picked that up last week. And my personal phone number, and again, my website. I am very excited launching a program I'm calling the Life Design Lab. Also, Warrior Women's Society for women who want to get together in community every single week. It's called Warrior Wednesday. We meet for an hour, we train, we connect, we lift each other up, and high performance coaching. This has been my dream for a very long time, and I am so grateful to Ping for this gift that I get to do that. Last final thing that I couldn't resist putting in here, I just delivered a career day presentation to my daughter's school a few months back. And I thought this was an important thing for kids, like to invite them to bring out their inner goat. And so as I think about navigating change, we need our greatest of all time. We don't need the defeated version of ourselves. And let me tell you this. I often ask myself, if I was coaching me right now, what would I say? One of the things I coach often as people are navigating change is I remind them, hey, you've made it through 100% of the hard days so far. Every single one you've made it through. You know what that makes you? Undefeated, baby. So you are going down now. It's not time to go down in this moment. That is you, the inner goat. So take a picture of yourself, put a goat on your head. And I got this idea actually from, I used to tell myself, I had a friend who was a big Tom Brady fan, and he used to say, you're a beast like Brady. And we do, that's high performance. Brady is high performance in action. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to put on my goat. I'm going to beast like Brady, and I want to see your goats. So flood them over my LinkedIn page, over my Facebook page, tag me. I want to stay in touch with you. I'm so excited for this next chapter. This excitement is what's helping me through the cancer part, to be completely honest. And as I look back, I've leaned on my career many times through hardship, right? And so I just invite you to think through change. Go back to that ladder. Start looking at your experience. Get that perspective right, because your perspective will inform what you believe about the world, what you think about in every action that you have. And I look forward to staying in touch. I send you so much love, so much gratitude. Thank you, Ping Identity. Mwah!